What happens at Grandma's stays at Grandma's is a model for you and your grandkids. If it's fun, it's fair game. But lately, hip pain has you grimacing more than laughing. And that's the moment you realize life's too short to put off treatment any longer.
The Joint and Spine Center is Cincinnati's leading destination for orthopedic care, with hundreds of joint replacements each year. So when a moment has the power to change the rest of your life, go to the one place with the power to change it for the better. The Christ Hospital Health Network. This changes everything.
The Pound This Podcast is brought to you by the Christ Hospital Health Network. This is the Pound This Podcast, episode 753. Update! Tonia Elrod's progress from heart failure to 15K.
I want to lose weight, but I don't know how to get started.
What should I meal prep every week?
How do I get those sweet booty gains?
Inspiration for your healthy lifestyle. The Pound This Podcast with Amanda Valentine.
Hello, friends. Before we get into this amazing conversation with Tonia about how she technically died and had 5 cardiac arrests in 2019, had to relearn to walk and talk, and now is training for the Heart Mini 15K, I want to talk to you about my friend Sarah and Team Fit With Me. If you are looking for a fantastic virtual health coach, Sarah and her team got you covered. Whether you want to learn about macros, know more about nutrition, exercise, mental health, wellness, especially if you have any sort of autoimmune issues or gut issues, Sarah can help you out, get some labs done. Her and her entire team can do so much. Just this past week, they did an entire meal plan for me. So I put my macros in, put all of my good information in, and created some recipes for me. Fantastic. If you're looking for a great health coach, go to teamfitwithme.com/poundthis. You'll find that in the show notes to save 10% off month 1 of all packages and plans. Thank you so much for listening to the Pound This Podcast. I am Amanda Valentine, returning guest, heart survivor Tonia Elrod. How are you?
I'm great. I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm good. Well, I mean, you're the one, we just got done training for an hour upstairs. Have you been exercising for an hour? So it's like, I think that you're probably in different shape than I am right now.
Definitely different shape than the last time we talked.
Yeah. I mean, so for people that have missed your first episode, which came out about a month ago, let's give everybody a quick overview about you, what happened in 2019, and what the past couple years have looked like for you.
Yes. So prior to 2019, I just was what I consider just a normal, average person with a very blessed life, great job, great husband, kids, friends, family. And then on February 2nd in 2019, on one day I had a massive heart attack followed by 5 episodes of cardiac arrest and ended up in the ICU on ECMO life support, a ventilator, etc. And so there, my life changed from that moment forward.
Yeah. So how long were you in the hospital for?
A month.
And so then you had to relearn to walk and talk and all of those things.
Yes.
So how long did it take you to be up and walking again?
What I did was I tracked myself, which helped. So I started in the hospital, just if I could have any steps, 40, 50 steps, starting with 10 steps, right?
Yeah.
And then up to 40, 50 steps. Then once I was out of the hospital, I said, okay, 1 month, I'll walk 1,000 steps each day and try that for a week or 2 and see how that goes. And then try to walk 2,000 steps and up until 10,000 steps. So that happened over the course of 6 months. And each month I did more and more steps on average and just tracked on my watch.
Yeah. And so, which is crazy. It wasn't that long ago. Which you just hit your anniversary of that.
3 years.
Being in 2019. And then here we are in 2022, where you're training to run a 15K, the Heart Mini with the American Heart Association. That is an aggressive goal for anybody, much less somebody who, went through everything that you went through, of going through cardiac arrest and heart attack and having to relearn and retrain your brain to, talk and to walk and to exercise. If I didn't know that about you at all, we've been training together for the past month or so, over a month now. So I'm cross training you. So you're training with Fleet Feet, with the running club with Fleet Feet here in Cincinnati to train for the Heart Mini. And then you're cross training with me and just, doing an hour workout. And we're doing a lot of stuff to help you with running. You're doing a lot of glute work. Like you're working that butt. You're doing, I mean, we were doing sled pushes. We're doing a lot of aggressive things, and you're really strong and you're really good at all of it. And it's like one of those things, if I didn't know that about you, I'd be like, man, this woman is coming in here and crushing. And then to know your backstory, it's like, holy cow, you're like freaking superwoman.
Well, I don't know if I'm superwoman, but the idea of taking a little bit at a time and having small goals that lead to a bigger goal has helped me. So like I started with, doing 1,000 steps a day. Could I do that? To now I'm asking myself, can I do a 15K? And that didn't happen overnight. But each day just saying, okay, what is my goal for today? A small goal that I could achieve, and then trying to build on that over time. And I think that's what's led me over 3 years to get to this place, and not being overwhelmed by trying to think, oh, I'm going to run someday. I mean, I initially, they didn't think it was possible for me to run. We were just focused on walking.
Yeah. And
so I didn't even have a long-term goal in sight. I just had like, okay, today it's 2,000 steps, and I'm going to try to focus on getting to, and that they were hard. It was very hard to get 2,000 steps in. But then that led to, oh, well, maybe I can do 3,000 or maybe just 2,500,
Yeah.
And just increasing the goal. So having attainable goals in front of me and just focused on one day at a time. And that just over time, 3 years later, now I can have a goal of running a 15K.
Yeah. And for people that have never done the Heart Mini here in Cincinnati, first off, if you've never been to Cincinnati, it is very hilly. And the hill that you run, it's a street called Torrance that you run on the Heart Mini, is an aggressive hill.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, I've never run the Mini. I always walk the Mini, and walking up Torrance is like, oof. So yeah, I mean, I know that you're about to do some hill training, which I want to ask you about here in a minute. But before we get to that, I think it's amazing that your team of doctors are like actually like telling you like, no, go out and run and exercise. And I think that's awesome, because I don't know. Obviously, I've never been through anything like that. I've just heard stories through people of the American Heart Association and everything they've been through to be like, no, go out there and hit it and get it. Like that's, I mean, to know that your doctors are like, you're fine. And for me as a personal trainer training you, I'm like, is it everything okay? Which at first it was like, okay, let's test everything out. I don't want to push you too far. And what's crazy too, at least for me, is where, I train so many people and I keep track of their heart rate of like, what's your heart rate at, to know like, okay, well, we're going to take a rest here. And your heart rate, like your resting heart, like tell
super
like everybody
low.
What your resting heart rate is, and compared to like when you're training, what your heart rate is.
Oh yeah, my heart rate's in high 40s, low 50s resting. So it, it can get up to 120, 130, but not much higher.
Yeah. So usually like with us training, you're around 80, 90 is kind of where you're pushing that. Yep. And I imagine that's probably where you're at with a run. And so what do you do to keep your heart healthy now? Like, because I know you're on like a ton of meds.
Well, yeah, I started and my doctors at first weren't like, go run.
Right.
They were like, let's do cardiac rehab, and I started there, and I'm probably more aggressive than I should be. I walk into cardiac rehab with a walker because I couldn't even walk myself. And I'm like, how long will it take me to run on the treadmill? They're like, oh, honey, no, that will not be happening in cardiac rehab. But at the very end, I was able to jog on the treadmill, and I thought that was a good accomplishment, and I was proud of myself for having that goal. And then over the fall, this past fall, the September, October of 2021, they went inside and looked at my heart and looked at all my arteries, and they say it looks great. So they were able to, they've looked at it several times, but they were able to look inside and see all the arteries, and they were like, it looks great, and we think you should try running. You can. So it was the first time I kind of got permission to do that. And so how do I stay healthy is just follow all of my doctor's orders, right? Like take the 15 meds a day, and try to eat healthy and keep exercising and just stay on my goals for that day, because I feel like it's really easy to get overwhelmed.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny because I just talked to one of the doctors at Christ Hospital about the Women's Heart Center, and her number one piece of advice was exercise.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to do anything, just please move and exercise. And obviously that is not a problem for you.
Well, and exercise can be just walking.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's studies that have recently come out about the benefits of just walking
Oh,
and
definitely.
getting out there. And I was excited when my watch was able to track when my heart rate was elevated, not significantly, just elevated enough, and it would track the minutes. And I would try to get 30 minutes a day. So that was one of my other goals, along with my steps, was to get my heart rate up to where my watch would track it 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And that helps, right? Gets the blood flowing and keeps you healthy.
Yeah. So I know that you never joined like a running group before.
No.
And you started with Fleet Feet in January, and now we're in the beginning of February. How is the running group going? How is that training?
I mean, those people are tough.
Like the coaches or the other runners?
Everybody. Yes. A shout out to everyone who's a runner out there who trains for half marathons and marathons. I've never been a part of a running group.
Oh, yeah, because you're in the half marathon group.
Right. You run snow, sleet, rain.
Yeah.
All temperatures. I have some new gear to keep me warm. So I've been so impressed. I'm like, oh, this is a group of really tough, determined, motivated people, and it's inspiring to be around all of them. I feel a little bit like a frog in the pot of boiling water where you don't know what's happening until it's too late because they keep upping the miles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I just can't believe. I mean, I did 7 miles like a week and a half ago. And I'm like, wow, and not in a race context. And it was snowy. And
yeah, you guys have had some brutal weather because you train like 7:30 in the morning on Saturdays. And there was a couple Saturdays in there where it was like stupid cold.
yes. And it's 7 a.m.
Oh, it's 7. It's not 7:30.
30 minutes makes a difference.
Okay. I'm sorry. So what you train Wednesday nights and Saturday mornings, correct?
Yes.
Is it the same people you're training with in those same days?
Yes, it's been nice. So I have a little pace group, and I've met some new friends, and that's been great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, very supportive group.
So yeah, I mean, that's crazy. You've already went past 7 miles, and that didn't feel like super challenging. So,
oh no, it's challenging.
Oh well, yeah,
I'm very challenged.
Okay,
yes.
But it feels like when you're going to do that 15K, like do you feel like, yeah, I got this?
I think the hill worries me, like you discussed.
Yeah.
Will I have the cardio capacity to do the hill? So we shall see.
Yeah. So you were talking about when we were training last week here at the gym, you were talking about doing some of the hills on the run, but you said that you felt like you were able to kind of move past the hills a little bit better than you anticipated.
Yeah. What's interesting is, I mean, even the training that we're doing and with Feet Fleet, it is just in a little over a month, and I can do hills much better than I could before. I feel like I'm stronger in the work that we're doing together. And I'm making progress little by little, but it's starting to add up.
Yeah.
It's to something more significant.
Yeah. That's
right.
so awesome.
I'm like, so I'm proud that I'm doing this, and that I'm following through on it, and, seeing, day one versus now, it's like, wow, that's,
Yeah. And that's what's awesome too. I mean, that's just like, I'm so glad that we are doing the cross training, because I mean, I used to run all the time, but I didn't cross train, of just how much that gives you strength to go up those hills when we are doing like working on your glutes, working on your hamstrings, and we're hitting more back of your body. Plus, I mean, we're working your upper body, and we're just getting you stronger in general to kind of give you that like, okay, let's go, and let's not make this where you're completely like and dying. And I mean, yeah, from where we started, from the very first time you came in here and we had a discussion in December, and the first time that we trained and did some exercise, to now, I mean, you are coming in and like you're very strong. Like you're pushing some really heavy weights around and doing some and working out for an hour. And where the program I have is designed to help you. We're working a lot of lower body for that running. I mean, it's not easy work. So I'm glad to know that at least on my end is able to help you kind of get through the harder parts of the run because, running hills, this sucks.
Yes. It's working, though, which is great.
And so, do you know... So are you, when you train hills with Fleet Feet, are you kind of doing smaller hills to kind of build you up to that big hill in the run? Or do you even know, or you just kind of show up and be like, tell me what to do?
I'm going with the surprise me approach.
Okay.
So I just show up and I follow our pace leader. I keep telling her I'm so sorry that I'm literally on her tail. I just don't want to get lost and make sure I'm doing everything properly. So I'm surprised, but there's been a couple so far, large hills, but we haven't done hill training, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh, you haven't even done official hill training
No.
yet.
So
when is that coming? Is that this week?
It's coming, yeah, sometime.
Yeah, well, and then what I love too is, at least here in Cincinnati, we had a big ice storm, which obviously is not going to be conducive to running outside. And I went for a walk today and it was already kind of treacherous, and this was days later. So to have that break, you didn't run Saturday morning because of the conditions, but you still trained anyway and ran on the treadmill. Did they prescribe that for you, or did you just choose, I missed the run yesterday, so I'm going to just run on a treadmill today?
Yeah, I just said I'll get in the miles how I could. And
okay.
Yeah. So
is that kind of how it works, where they tell you
time.
how many miles to do in a week and you have to hit those numbers?
Yeah, each day they give you, it's kind of a very nice program in terms of it. They just lay out, here's what you do each day. And if they lay out the rest days, and the rest days you can cross train on those days. And then 2 of the days you're with Fleet, and the other days you're running on your own.
Yeah. So it's definitely some work in holding you to accountability on your own too, outside of just doing
exactly
the training runs.
Yeah. 5 days of running a week. It's a lot of running.
Yeah. Well, it's a 15K is no joke. So do you think, you don't have to answer this, do you think that I fully believe that you're just going to crush the mini and do great. Do you think that after that, would you be like, I'm kind of interested in a half marathon? Or do you think this is cool, I'm done?
At first I thought that after the 15K, I was going to be finished, especially when we first started training. I was like, this is really hard. And it's so much harder than what running was before I had heart failure. So much harder. But then now that I'm this far into it, and each day goes by, and each day I do the work, and the days are starting to add up to weeks, and the weeks are now adding up to months, I'm like, maybe I should just keep going and do the half marathon.
Oh, dang.
So we shall see.
Well, if you can't, because then the half is for the pig, the flying pig, which is in May. So then if you train for the mini and that felt good after that, can you just stay in your same Fleet Feet group and then just train for the half?
Yep.
Dang.
So
we'll see. Yeah. We're just
one day at a time.
Yeah, right?
Yes, one day at a time.
One day at a time, and then get through, let's just go through the mini first, which I'm hoping anybody listens to this. I'm going to be at the finish line, and I hope people come join me and cheer you on, even if the temperature is ridiculous, which it has been in the past sometimes. I'm so excited to see you cross the finish line, because I know once you get that hill done, it's way easier after that, and then you get a banana.
Yes, I'll take the banana. Well, I'm nervous about the hill, but to even talk about the fact that I might be able to do it, when I first started walking, I live on a hill, and I couldn't walk up the hill without having to stop multiple times, just walk up the hill and stop multiple times, and it was out of breath just because I would walk to the drugstore to get my meds. It was the way to get my steps in and walk home, but then it was downhill one way, then uphill. And now to talk about, the fact that I ran up a big hill a week and a half ago, and I'm just so proud I did that,
Yeah. How often do you stop and just kind of look at where you're at and be like, whoa, this is crazy.
Right. And I need to do more of that. I think we all need to do more of that, right?
Oh, for sure.
Stop and wow, this is really cool, whatever's going on in our lives, So yes, that's a good push for me. I need to do that more.
Yeah. And I love too that on top of, already just getting in your runs, cross training, you're also doing some stretching. And I know that you have a Theragun at home that you kind of massage yourself with after runs, and that's super smart too. So you don't just, and I'm 1000% guilty of this, of really bad with stretching pre and post run of like, once I'm done, I'm like, yo, I'm done. Of like, know how important it is to try to stretch those things out, use one of those massage guns. And I think that's probably helping you a ton.
Yes, I stole it from my husband. And it's amazing. And there's no effort on my part. You just, just turn it on and,
right?
And it massages your legs for you. I highly recommend if you don't have one to get one or ask for it as a gift or something, right? They're amazing.
Because they're not the cheapest things, but my physical therapist recommended one to me in 2021 because I hurt my back again because I went down a playground slide and hurt my back because I do stupid stuff. So she's just like, in order to kind of keep everything loose, you have to foam roll so much, like aggressively foam roll multiple times a day, which I can do because I work in a gym and I have a foam roller at home. I have access to that, but it's also like, it's not the most pleasurable thing on earth. And like, so she's just like, get one of those massage guns, just run that around your legs. And she's just like, and let that do the work for you. And you don't have to foam roll as much. So I didn't even ask for one for Christmas, but I got one and it's awesome.
Well, and you're tired after you work out. So you don't want to be like do foam rolling on your legs.
Yeah, you just want to be done.
Right. So then the gun, since it does all the work for you, it's nice. It's a lazy person's way of helping your legs.
What I think is super important for especially running, because like you're doing so much with your legs that like, massage them out, give them a break so they don't tighten up on you so bad and then end up giving you injuries where they're yanking on your kneecaps in weird ways or pulling on your hips. So if you kind of loosen everything up.
Right.
So, I mean, I just think that it's awesome. I think you're doing it all the right way and you're, staying within doctor's orders and you're feeling good. I mean, obviously it's tough work, but I feel like that's whenever you get that medal, it's like, man, like not only just what a huge accomplishment, but just like, just a good image of just being healthy. You know what I mean? Of doing healthy choices for yourself of like, I'm going to go out and exercise and I am going to stretch and massage and I am going to do these things of just like, of taking care of yourself. And, I just think that's awesome.
Yep. I agree. Yes. We should all take whatever steps that whatever's the next step, right?
Yeah.
Whatever you need to incorporate next into your routine. Like I didn't have a massage gun, but that was like, oh, we could add that. That's an easy something to add.
Yeah, because even when we're doing stretching here at the gym, you've got some nasty spots.
Yes.
Of just like, oh yeah, like running will. Any sort of exercise, even walking, like it's smart to stretch and do all of those things. So I know you have a Heart Mini team and you are doing some fundraising for that. Are you cool if I like link up the link to that to the show notes here so people can join your team, or even if they're not in Cincinnati, like make a donation?
Yes, it would be awesome to donate to the American Heart Association through my team or register for the race as part of my team so we can all, get healthier together.
Yeah. And it is, Heart Month. And so are you busy out doing the rounds of doing things of spreading awareness of heart disease?
Yes. I mean, February is Heart Month, and I've partnered with the American Heart Association on just helping people be aware of your heart health, knowing your cholesterol, knowing your blood pressure, which you can just go to the drugstore or grocery store and get your blood pressure taken. Being aware of what you eat and your salt intake and, just having some awareness of your family, genetic history. Do you need to go get your heart checked because you have genetic history? Knowing hands-only CPR in case there's somebody who has a heart issue, that you can help them.
Yeah.
So just kind of being aware of there are some things that you can do for yourself and for other people. And hopefully we all think about those things, at least during Heart Month. Yeah.
Or at least, start the conversation during Heart Month and keep it going because, heart disease is the number one killer of women. So it's just something that I feel like, especially as women, we should definitely have a lot more awareness about because it's something that's not ever discussed. And even when it is discussed during Heart Month, it's not like it's the main topic of conversation for most people. So it's just like, knowing your numbers, doing the exercise, making healthy choices, because I mean, it could be a complete, obviously, life changer like it has been for you.
Yeah. If it can be me, it can be anyone. Yeah. And I was shocked to hear that it was the number one killer of women and men for that matter, more than all cancers combined. And I always felt like I heard about other diseases like cancer more than I ever heard about heart disease. And I asked somebody once, I said, why? I didn't know that heart disease was the number one killer of men and women. And the answer I got was because there's no survivors, Tonia. Ugh. There's not many people like me. And that just gave me more motivation to want to speak about heart health and have other people do the preventative actions that they can take to ensure that they and their family stay healthy.
Yeah, because so much of it can be preventable. I mean, some of it's not. It's genetics. But when it's a disease where there are so many preventative steps to take, and it is just going out for a walk. You know what I mean? That it's, I'm so glad that you are, using your experience to like share a voice. And I hope that, you doing that's really going to make a difference for a lot of people. And I'm sure it already has, of just somebody that's didn't think about getting their numbers checked before, or checking their hereditary issue, background, or signing up for the Heart Mini to walk or to run because they're inspired. I don't know. It's crazy. Like it's awful you had to go through such, a horrific event, but it's like how much like inspiration and goodness came out of it. I think it's just like totally amazing. And I'm so glad that you are sharing your story on my podcast, and that, you're doing this run group and you're working out and you're doing all of these things. I think it's amazing. And I'm super proud of you.
Oh, thanks. Well, I'm super appreciative of your support and guidance and everything. So you've been an amazing trainer, and I couldn't be doing this without you. I feel like you're the heart and soul of all of my efforts here. So.
Oh, yay. Well, I think that you're doing awesome. I think we should check in again before the race and see how you're feeling a month from now, and then see how ready we are to hit Torrance and run that hill. And then hopefully we can have a celebratory podcast after the race, and you can cling on your medal on the microphone.
Awesome. We're envisioning success.
Exactly. We're manifesting it.
I like it.
Awesome. Tonia, thank you so much.
AmandaValentineBites.com